This story was sent to me by Craig J, and it is coming from Jezebel.com. We all know who this decrepit old fool is. This is none other than Roman Polanski. And while he has been receiving good news and praise lately, what I'm about to bring to you is nothing short of what the fuck yet again. But it should not surprise anybody. So as we all know, Roman Polanski has had a dark cloud over his head, and rightfully so, for the last, I don't know how many years, for the last few decades, when he got convicted and charged with pretty much child rape. And nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing, has ever happened to this man, but he's managed to still get praise in the industry, whether silently or openly, and managed to still win awards. And guess what? The streak continues, because apparently, according to this article that I'm going to read, he's been given another award. Now, I don't know for what film, because apparently, he's still making films. And he has yet been rewarded again. Mind you, this guy has been convicted of child rape. And he still gets to work. Yet Bill Cosby is behind bars for another, 9 years for hearsay. It says Roman Polanski, who pled guilty to unlawful sexual intercourse with a minor in 1978 and has yet to serve a single day of his sentence, has been awarded with the Grand Jury Prize at the Venice International Film Festival for a film about a wrongfully accused man. Now, isn't that interesting? He receives an award for a film about a wrongfully accused person, yet he has been rightfully accused and rightfully convicted of his crimes and has yet to serve a day in jail. And he got the Grand Jury Prize. I know a little bit about these prizes at these film festivals. The Grand Jury Prize is the top prize any indie film can receive at these film festivals. The highest. It's literally like the Oscar of film festivals as far as awards go. It's the top honor. The Polanski directed An Officer and a Spy is based on the 2013 book about the Dreyfus affair and tells the story of a French military officer who discovers that a Jewish officer in the French military was convicted of spying for Germany based on false evidence, resulting in a life of imprisonment. Polanski did not attend the festival to accept his prize because he is a convicted sex offender who cannot travel much for fear of being sent back to America, where he would face punishment for a crime to which he pled guilty. So this man is able to still work on films with other people and still win awards, as long as he does not travel outside of the perimeter of which he is being, I guess you can say, safe in. Almost like Edward Snowden, except Edward Snowden didn't rape anybody, whether it was a consenting adult or a minor child. Or almost like Asada Shakur, except she didn't rape any minor child or was involved with something of that level, like that, because she's in Cuba, and Edward Snowden, he's in Russia. But this guy can go and flee the establishment years ago, and he gets asylum after pleading guilty. And he can let's put it this way: Roman Polanski will never see a day inside of a prison cell, a jail cell, ever. Let's put it that way. He's been free this long. He's this up in age. He's this old. At this point, they might as well just let him just die out there whenever that time comes. But the fact of the matter is that this man is still able to work and get money and get praise. Yet you have many who look like us who are in jail for being wrongfully accused of something or false imprisonment. And when or if we happen to get out of jail, we have to pick up the pieces of our life, of whatever is left of it, and build or try to build on top of that. Yet this guy can just be free and they can't touch him. I bet if it was one of us, they'll find a way to break through that wall and get us the fuck up out of there and back over here. And that inability to partake in international parties provided just the insight Polanski needed to empathize with the unjustly accused Alfred Dreyfus, according to a recent interview. Making a film like this helps me a lot. Now, this is a quote coming from him. In the story, I sometimes find moments I have experienced myself. I can see the same determination to deny the facts and condemn me for things I have not done. Most of the people who harass me do not know me and know nothing about the case. My work is not therapy. However, I must admit that I am familiar with many of the workings of the apparatus of persecution shown in the film, and that has clearly inspired me. So basically, he's trying to put himself in the shoe of the character in which he's talking about. Is this his way of trying to say that he is innocent for what he did, even though he pled guilty back in 1978, basically admitting guilt to what he did? It's easy to see how Polanski's might find those parallels. Since his conviction, Polanski has been persecuted with an Oscar, 2 Golden Globes, and the Cannes Palme d'Or, which is exactly like the story he tells it in his film, except that Alfred Dreyfus didn't do it, had to go to prison after he was convicted, and wasn't given a wheelbarrow full of awards by people who never gave a shit about the crime he was accused of in the first place. Like I said, they will continue to reward bad behavior as long as it comes from a palm-colored male. It doesn't matter how long ago it was. It doesn't matter to what extent of the crime it is. I think that Roman Polanski is probably one of the first people, as far as a high-profile person, to have a crime like this against them, to actually completely and utterly walk away from this. They should have got his ass before he even left that courtroom the day he pled guilty. From what I'm guessing, because I wasn't around back then, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, my guess is this: when he found out he was guilty, he had already left the establishment. He already knew he was going to be found guilty, and somebody out there or somebody's helped him escape. He could not have done that on his own. This man has been out of the country, out of the establishment, off of this continent since the 70s, and still was able to make films and win an Oscar and 2 Golden Globes and a few other awards. What does that tell you? He literally opened up the floodgates for a lot of these other palm-colored elites, quote unquote, that are working in Hollywood, whether on screen or behind the screen, behind the camera, that you can do something like this and get away with it. Look at Bryan Singer. He was able to direct a movie that garnered a lot of awards last year, just as long as he did not show up to any of the award ceremonies. They would still award him. Casey Affleck had multiple allegations against him, yet he is able to win an Oscar that should have gone to Nate Parker had they not sabotaged his film the year prior. And a host of other people. Was it Stephen Collins, the dad from Seventh Heaven? He admitted on camera that he molested little girls. He admitted it. And I think it was his wife that forced him to do it, or made him do it. Because I think he had told her, and he said, "You got to tell the world about this." And he probably, out of fear that she was going to leave him, should have just left him regardless. And a slew of other people. Yet they have to go after and hone in on Bill Cosby, and they'll still make Bill Cosby jokes. You know, it's so crazy because it's not like the Roman Polanski situation is not new to anybody. It's been public knowledge for a very long time. But they would love to always use Bill Cosby as the scapegoat, as if Roman Polanski did not actually plead guilty and admitted guilt to what he did way before the whole Bill Cosby thing was a topic of discussion. Because they have to make black men be the face of everything nefarious. And I do mean every goddamn thing. There's a historical context behind that whole thing. What they're really trying to say is we cannot have we can't have this particular species known as the black man know that he is truly God's gift to this earth, or at least one of them. So what do? We make him look like he's God's mistake. And then we'll prop ourselves up and make us look like we are the gift to this planet. That no matter what wicked things we do, that we will always be forgiven. And no matter what wicked things that we do, we'll never be forgiven. Like I said, we could do one bad thing and it's an indictment on the entire community. They do one bad thing and it's just an indictment on themselves as far as an individual goes. But like I said, Roman Polanski literally is one of the few people that kicked off this palm color privilege in Hollywood. I swear I think he is. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments, and I'll talk to you in the next one.